The Los Angeles Lakers landing Adrian is a move that could truly reshape the team's outlook this season, especially when you consider how it finally addresses a long-standing need. The center position. For years, the Lakers have struggled to find a reliable presence in the middle, bouncing between different options, but never really settling on someone who could consistently anchor the defense and contribute on offense. With Atan now in the fold, that puzzle piece seems to be falling into place. It's a relief for the front office because they no longer have to scramble for a center or even settle for a backup center through a trade, which can often come at a steep cost. Instead, the team can focus its energy and resources on other areas that need improvement, like wing depth or shooting. Now, beyond just solving the center spot, there's a fascinating dynamic to consider: how Adrian fits with a player like Al Horford. Imagine the impact Horford could have. He's not just a veteran presence, he's the kind of savvy, experienced guy who can mentor younger players and help them elevate their game by teaching them how to avoid mistakes, stay disciplined, and understand the nuances of the league. For someone like Atan, who has sometimes been criticized for inconsistency or a lack of motor, having a mentor like Horford around could make a huge difference. It's not just about stats or minutes, it's about mindset, about the subtle but crucial ways a player can learn to get out of his own way and contribute more effectively. Horford could be the glue that holds the front court together, a steady hand that helps balance out the youth and talent around him. When you think about the Lakers' offseason, the center position was always a tricky issue. There were rumors about targets like Clint Capela, Brook Lopez, or even some younger players like Jericho Sims or Luke Cornett. But none of those options felt quite right or guaranteed the kind of impact the team needed. Now, landing Adrian along with the possibility of adding someone like Horford suddenly feels like the perfect fit. It's almost surprising the way things line up. What looked like a tough problem has a neat solution. That in itself is a big boost for the Lakers' prospects going forward. Of course, there are still some question marks around Atan. His talent is undeniable. He's a player capable of averaging a double-double and providing serious presence on both ends of the floor when he's locked in. But his defensive consistency has been a concern. There have been seasons where he looked like a solid rim protector and anchor, and others where he seemed disinterested or out of position. The key for the Lakers is whether he can regain that defensive focus and buy into the team's system fully. If he does, the Lakers could be looking at a starting center who not only scores efficiently, but also holds the paint and protects the rim, which has been a missing piece for them for a long time. What's encouraging is that the Lakers roster, outside of the center position, is shaping up pretty well. They still have draft assets, exceptions, and some cap space, which means they can still add a few role players to round out the roster. Players like D'Anthony Melton could bring toughness and defensive ability on the wing, while someone like Malcolm Brogdon or other versatile two-way players could fill critical rotation spots. The goal here is to build a balanced team that complements the star power of LeBron James and Austin Reeves, while also providing the kind of defensive support that has been lacking. The Lakers aren't just stacking offensive firepower. They're trying to create a roster that can be resilient and tough come playoff time. Speaking of LeBron, his leadership and versatility remain central to the Lakers' ambitions. He can still carry the team offensively, but defensively he's more valuable than ever as a communicator and anchor who can switch assignments and cover for teammates. Add to that the potential of Luka Doncic, who is entering what many hope is a motivated phase of his career, and you have a core that, if it clicks, could make serious noise in the league. Austin Reeves, on a contract year, will also be hungry to prove himself, and that kind of motivation across the roster creates a fertile ground for success. However, the defense remains the biggest question mark. The Lakers could easily become one of the best defensive teams in the league. There's no shortage of scoring talent with LeBron, Atan, Reeves, and Doncic on the floor. But basketball isn't just about putting up points, it's about stopping the other team, especially in the playoffs when every possession is critical. Right now, their defensive identity feels fragile. Outside of LeBron, who is arguably the team's best defender, the Lakers don't have many reliable defenders who can guard multiple positions and provide consistent help defense. That's why acquiring players who can bring two-way ability, guys who can defend at a high level while contributing offensively, is so important. One of the strategies the Lakers might consider is upgrading their wing depth. Defense on the perimeter is crucial, and having versatile athletic wings who can guard multiple positions and switch seamlessly can make all the difference in playoff series. Jared Vanderbilt, for example, brings a lot of energy and defensive grit, and there's an argument for giving him more responsibility. But the team will still need more than just grit. They need wings who can hit open shots, make smart decisions, and lock down key opposing scorers. Another layer to consider is how Aten's arrival impacts the roles of other players. For instance, Rui Hachimura, who has been a reliable contributor, might see his minutes and role adjusted. Aten's ability to score around the rim and rebound could push Hachimura into a different spot or even make him more expendable as a trade asset. The Lakers could look to flip him in a deal for a defender or wing who fits the two-way mold they desperately need. That's the kind of roster maneuvering that can elevate a team from good to great. The possibility of trading Austin Reaves is also floated around, which is a bold but intriguing idea. Reaves has been a dynamic scorer and playmaker, but Aten's presence might make some of his offensive production redundant. Instead, the Lakers could target a more specialized point-of-attack defender or facilitator, someone like Herb Jones, who is known for his defensive prowess and ability to make plays on both ends. Pairing such a player with the existing core could create a much more balanced and formidable starting lineup. Imagine a starting five with Doncic and Drew Wiggins, Herb Jones, LeBron James, and Adrian. This group would have length, athleticism, defense, and scoring ability in a nearly perfect blend. That kind of lineup could compete with the very best teams in the league and be a nightmare matchup come playoff time. Of course, none of this happens overnight. Patience is key. The Lakers are in a strong position as things stand. They're likely to win a good number of games in the regular season, and their offense is expected to be one of the most potent in the NBA. But the playoffs bring a different challenge. Defensive stops become far more important than points scored, and every mistake is magnified. The Lakers need to develop or acquire the defensive toughness to match their offensive firepower. That's what separates contenders from pretenders. The ideal scenario for the Lakers would be to make incremental improvements, adding the right pieces without sacrificing too much of their future or current depth. Trades that bring in solid, versatile defenders on the wing and perhaps a backup big who can hold his own defensively would go a long way. The front office has to weigh these options, carefully balancing the urgency to improve with the need to keep assets and flexibility for future moves. And then there's the question of Adrian himself. He has all the physical tools to be a dominant center in this league. He can score efficiently in the paint, rebound at a high level, and block shots. The problem has been consistency and effort. Some critics call him lazy or say he lacks motor, but the numbers tell a story of a player who, when fully engaged, can put up impressive stats, averaging close to a double-double, even without maximum effort. If he buys and gets motivated and takes on a leadership role within the team, the ceiling is very high. Atan could become not just a solid starter, but a game-changing presence who elevates the entire Lakers squad. Ultimately, the Lakers' success with Atan and this roster will depend on the infrastructure around him, the coaching, the veteran leadership, and the culture that pushes him to stay focused and committed. The front office can bring in veterans like Horford to provide that guidance, but at the end of the day, it's up to Atan to step up and make this season count. With potential contract implications looming, this might very well be his last chance to prove he belongs among the NBA's elite. Meanwhile, the Lakers should continue to explore trade opportunities that could upgrade their wing defense, turning some combination of players like Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura, Maxi Kleber, or even Jared Vanderbilt into two legitimate threat wings would make a huge difference. The goal is clear: build a rotation full of versatile, athletic defenders who can keep up with the league's best scorers and still contribute offensively when needed. Losing Dorian Finney-Smith was a setback, but the moves to bring in Atan and possibly Horford suggest the team is moving in the right direction. In the end, this season is about balance. The Lakers are loaded with offensive talent, but defense will be the true test. If they can find the right mix of players who buy into the system and play with effort on both ends, the possibilities are exciting. The combination of youth, veteran savvy, and star power might finally bring the Lakers back to contention. It's a long road ahead, but with Adrian anchoring the middle and smart roster moves, this team could surprise a lot of people, building on the momentum from acquiring Adrian and potentially adding a veteran like Al Horford. The Lakers face a critical juncture where they must translate their off-season moves into tangible results on the court. The NBA is a league defined by constant adjustments, and success often hinges on how well teams can integrate new pieces into an established framework. For the Lakers, the task isn't simply to have star players or athletic big men. It's to cultivate chemistry, cohesion, and a resilient mindset that carries through 80 to regular season games and deep into the playoffs. One of the subtler but most important challenges will be establishing roles and expectations. with talents like LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, and now Adrian all sharing the floor. Clarity is essential. LeBron, as always, remains the team's ultimate playmaker and leader, but the balance of responsibilities among the supporting cast will need to be carefully managed. Doncic is entering a stage of his career where he is expected to take on even greater offensive and defensive burdens, and Reeves is hungry to expand his role, showing he can be a reliable scorer and defender. Aiton's role as the primary center should ideally free up these perimeter players to operate more effectively by commanding attention inside and protecting the rim. Coaches will be tasked with maximizing Aiton's strengths while mitigating his weaknesses. His offensive skill set, scoring in the post, rolling to the basket on pick and rolls, and finishing strong around the rim, is well suited to the Lakers' style of play, which emphasizes fast breaks, transition scoring, and inside-out basketball. However, his defense requires the most attention. Effective rim protection isn't just about blocking shots, it involves positioning, communication, and consistently challenging opponents without fouling. The Lakers coaching staff will likely prioritize drills that enhance his defensive awareness and stamina, pushing him to maintain intensity for all 48 minutes of the game. In doing so, they'll aim to create a dependable anchor who can guard the paint, even when LeBron or others are drawn away on switches. Meanwhile, the presence of Al Horford, if he indeed signs on, will be invaluable for guiding not only Aiton but the entire front court group. Horford's experience in multiple playoff runs and his reputation for being a smart, unselfish player can elevate the team's basketball IQ. His ability to read the game, set screens effectively, and make the right decisions with the ball will help smooth offensive execution. Defensively, his communication and leadership on the court serve as an extension of the coaching staff. In tight games, having a veteran voice can make the difference between a costly error and a game-saving stop. His mentorship could also push younger players like Aiton to adopt a more professional approach, focusing on preparation, recovery, and mental toughness. Another vital element in the Lakers' formula will be the development of their perimeter defense. With the NBA trending toward positionless basketball, wings who can guard multiple spots and switch onto guards or forwards without losing effectiveness are premium assets. The Lakers' off-season moves suggest a recognition that wing defense needs an upgrade. Players who bring length, lateral quickness, and the ability to contest shots without fouling are crucial. This isn't just about defense in isolation, it ties directly into the team's overall defensive scheme, which will likely rely heavily on switching and aggressive help defense to mask individual weaknesses. The integration of new wings will also affect offensive spacing. In today's NBA, the ability to shoot threes consistently is almost a prerequisite for maintaining floor balance. This spacing allows a player like LeBron to penetrate and kick, Doncic to operate with freedom, and Aiton to find easier finishes inside. Without shooters, defenses collapse into the paint, forcing the Lakers into contested shots and limiting their offensive efficiency. The front office will undoubtedly keep scouting potential acquisitions or internal development to ensure the roster includes enough reliable shooters. It's a delicate balance. Defense and shooting must coexist to achieve sustainable success. Looking beyond individual players and schemes, the Lakers' success will heavily depend on their health and depth. Injuries have been a recurring issue for this franchise in recent years, particularly with their star players. LeBron James, while still performing at a high level, is no longer in his early 20s, and managing his minutes and recovery will be crucial. Having a dependable center like Aiton means less wear and tear on LeBron defending the rim or battling down low, potentially extending his career and effectiveness. Likewise, a solid bench that can maintain or even extend leads will be a significant advantage. Depth isn't just about bodies on the court, it's about trust, confidence, and the ability to execute the game plan without a drop-off in intensity. This brings attention to the role of the coaching staff. Frank Vogel's previous tenure with the Lakers showed moments of brilliance, but also some questionable adjustments, particularly in handling rotations and late-game scenarios. If the team is to maximize its new roster, a coaching approach that embraces flexibility, innovation, and strong communication is essential. Whether Vogel returns or a new coach steps in, the leadership must foster a culture of accountability and resilience. Players need to feel empowered to take ownership of their roles while being held to high standards on both ends of the floor. Another layer to consider is the mental aspect of the game. The Lakers have long carried the weight of expectations, both internal and external, and this pressure can manifest in various ways. Confidence can be fragile, especially after tough losses or during stretches of inconsistent play. Developing a team mentality that views challenges as opportunities, rather than setbacks, is paramount. Leaders like LeBron and Horford can play a pivotal role here, setting the tone in the locker room and on the practice court. Mental toughness combined with physical preparedness can separate playoff contenders from those who falter under pressure. As the season progresses, matchups will provide a litmus test for the Lakers' new-look roster. Competing against the elite teams in the Western Conference will highlight strengths and expose weaknesses. Games against squads with dominant big men or fast, aggressive wings will force the Lakers to adapt their strategy and prove their defensive mettle. Success in these high-stakes games can build momentum and confidence, while losses will offer valuable lessons to refine their approach. The chemistry among players will also evolve over time. Early season growing pains are almost inevitable with significant roster changes. Trust on both offense and defense must be built through repetition and shared experiences. Pick-and-roll timing, communication on switches, understanding teammates' tendencies. All these details matter and require patience. Fans and analysts alike will watch closely to see how quickly this core gels and whether individual talents coalesce into a cohesive unit. Finally, the Lakers' front office will need to remain vigilant and adaptable. The NBA landscape shifts rapidly, with injuries, trades, and unexpected breakout performances altering team dynamics. Staying proactive, whether by making mid-season moves, adjusting rotations, or investing in player development, can keep the team competitive. Athens' contract situation might become a focal point in the off-season, and decisions about extensions or trades will influence the franchise's direction. In essence, the Lakers' path forward is filled with both promise and challenges. Adriaton's arrival provides a cornerstone around which a well-rounded team can be built. Veteran leadership like Horford's could be the stabilizing force that transforms potential into performance. But success will require more than talent. It demands commitment, adaptability, and a relentless pursuit of improvement. If the Lakers can navigate this complex landscape, they may not only contend for championships, but also lay the foundation for sustained excellence in the years to come. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, there's been a growing buzz in the NBA world that could shake up the landscape in Los Angeles. Rumors have started swirling that the Los Angeles Lakers are on the verge of securing the significant additions to their roster, Andrew Wiggins and Nick Claxton. While nothing has been officially announced yet, sources close to the team suggest that talks have progressed rapidly and a deal could be imminent, sparking excitement and speculation among fans and analysts alike. Andrew Wiggins, known for his athleticism and scoring ability, would bring a new dimension to the Lakers' wing position. His time with the Golden State Warriors showcased his growth as a two-way player, with the ability to defend multiple positions and contribute offensively when needed. For the Lakers, adding Wiggins could address some of their long-standing perimeter scoring issues and inject much-needed versatility. Though he has had a somewhat inconsistent career, Wiggins' potential upside remains significant, and landing him could prove to be a clever move by the Lakers' front office. On the other hand, Nick Claxton's name emerging in Lakers discussions adds an intriguing front court twist. Claxton, a young and promising center, has impressed many with his defensive presence and rim protection skills.